Okay, so for today's lesson, I do want to talk about these 4 forms. And the reason that we did these 4 in particular is because these 4 are what make up a lot of the things in real life in the items around you. So, for example, here's a glue stick. Which one does it match? Is it a cube? Is it a sphere? Is it a cylinder? Is it a cone? It's a cylinder, right? And actually, if you look closer, the cap is a cylinder. This part right here inside the cap is an inner cylinder. This is a cylinder, and this is a cylinder. All sorts of cylinders stacked on themselves. Okay, but other things around us, like our glue, this has multiple of these forms. So at the top, it's very much like a cone. It's rounded or kind of flattened up here, and it has a really long body here. But then right here, that's a cylinder. And then right here, this is more of like a rectangular prism. It's or cube, rectangular prism, same thing. But it's not perfect, right? It's rounded. But just knowing those 1, 2, 3, it helps us give us a place to start, a place to figure out how to shade, how to shadow. Okay, so any of the things that are around you, you can look at and see, okay, which one of these does it fall under? Okay, and so we're going to do some drawing today of our art supplies because they have these together, and some of them are simple and some of them get a little bit more complex. So I want you to go to a brand new page in your journal, and just with one of your pencils, see, I'll do HB so you can read. We're going to draw a line straight down and straight across in half. So we have 4 quadrants. And I clearly did not do that very well at all, but that's okay. Okay. And then in this quadrant, we're going to draw our glue stick. So if you would write glue stick. So we're going to draw this here, and I'm going to guide you through that. Okay. Then in this one, we're going to draw 2 watercolors. 2 watercolors. Okay, and the bottom left one, I'm just looking, this my little notes under here. Pencil sharpener. Remember this guy? Pencil sharpener. And the last box we're going to do our glue bottle. Okay, so those are our 4 things we're going to draw today. So let's talk about each one. And so I had said before, this is a whole bunch of cylinders. Cylinder, inner cylinder, cylinder, cylinder. Okay, watercolors, we're going to look at it from the side. We're going to be drawing them from the side. I'll show you in just a minute. And from the side, this is a cylinder. And this is more like a cube. Okay, and they're going to be kind of like that. Our pencil sharpener is more like a cube, or what we would call a rectangular prism. Although notice the bottom here goes in and goes out, so that'll be a little tricky. And then the top is like part of a sphere that's kind of elongated. Okay, and then our glue bottle is the cone, the cylinder, and kind of like a cube. Okay, so just knowing those ahead of time and breaking down the forms in an object is a really good exercise for your eye to get started and figure out where you're going to start drawing this. Okay, so we're going to start with the glue stick in class today. So I've got my glue stick here, and I'm just going to draw it as I see it right here. Okay. Now when we draw these things, you do not have to draw the words. We're drawing the form and we're drawing the light. So you do not have to draw any of the words or branding or anything like that. So I'm just going to start with my HB pencil. Oh, that's going to roll, isn't it? Put it over there. And we're going to start with just getting the shape down. And I kind of want to draw it so I can see a little bit of the top here. Okay. So to start, I'm going to, I want to see the top part here. So at the top, I'm going to make, and I'm just sketching right now, I'm just going to make kind of a flattened oval. And I can perfect it later. Okay, and then I'm going to draw the cap, just the cap. And to get the size right, I noticed that the cap here, one, two, is about, the whole glue stick is about 4 cap lengths high. So if that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if you have a different glue stick from your kit, you need to draw your glue stick. Although I think we all have the same glue stick. So I think that that should be good. And I didn't get it perfect here. We're not about perfect. But I'm going to now start looking at the details. So I notice that up here there's a little circle. There is a little like dot or something in the circle. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to draw that circle in here. And I'm just going to kind of go down the form. I do notice that at the bottom of this here, there is a tiny little ridge. So I'm going to draw that ridge in. So that's what the cap does. Pretty much got the cap going. And then in this cap are a whole bunch of tiny little lines. I can feel them. You can hear me kind of feeling them. Okay, so I'm just going to draw the best of my ability, some straight lines. I am not using a ruler. This gives your drawing character. It makes it your own. So see, not perfect. And it gives it the idea of that texture. And artists have drawn their materials for a really long time. It's because they're accessible. And they're not too hard to draw. This is less complicated than you'd think at first glance. Okay, now there is my lid, and I can make it a little bit more perfect. Okay, but I'm going to move on. Now I notice that under the lid on this specific glue stick, I have it so that there is a space, and I like that space. That space gives it more form. If I were to push it together, that space wouldn't be there, but I'm going to draw it like that. Okay, so I'm going to put that space in right here. And then I notice that it goes out again. So putting these little details in here is what makes the drawing kind of come alive. Gotta focus that. Let me zoom in so you can see. Okay. Pretty good. I drew mine a little bit bigger. It's always better to draw bigger. Okay. All right. Then we have the barrel of it with pretty much, it's pretty just straight here and no texture. And then the bottom has texture, but it's different than the top. So this will be curved. Nice curved line there. And then it actually does come in the tiniest bit, at least in my view. So you want to draw what you see, not what you think you see. And I have these divots here, and then the space between the divots is greater. Okay, so far, mine is kind of hanging out to the right. That's okay. We're good with that. That's fine. It's the way I drew it. Okay. Now we need to put in some shadows. So I kind of want to pretend that it's standing up like this, and I'm looking at it this way. The camera and you guys are looking at it straight down. But if I was looking at it this way, I would see that my cast shadow goes kind of this way here. Goes out that way. And remember, your cast shadow is darkest here at the base. Okay. I also noticed some other shadows. I noticed that when I'm looking at it like this, I'm looking this way, I noticed that there's actually a shadow under the little space where the cap is, where it's not quite put on fully. So I'm going to put in that little shadow there. Okay. And then I'm just going to follow the rules of a cylinder. Okay. Oh, I do want to put in here. Let's just put that in, like literally, like just fill it in. To give the illusion that it kind of goes down. Okay. Now we're going to follow the core shadow cylinder rules. So I have many light sources here. I have about 3. So you can see all sorts of reflections in here. But we're just going to put in our core shadow on this side. Okay, our light is coming this way because our shadow's going this way. So I'm just going to put my core shadow right here. Okay, and if you know these rules about where shadows go compared to where light source goes, you can end up drawing a lot of things that you think you couldn't draw before. The other thing that artists do once they know the rules is they break the rules. So I'm not talking about rules like, I don't know, come to class on time or don't wear your hat in class. Not that kind of rules. I'm talking about rules like where the shadow goes and how dark the core shadow is and that kind of thing. The things that we've been working on. Okay, so I'm putting in the core shadow and I'm kind of feathering it out here along the edge to the reflected light. I am going to put it in here too. Okay, so I'm going to put in those core shadow, and it's not as dark. I might need to go back and put in some more of these lines. Okay, and down here. So I'm doing this all with HB pencil. If you want to change pencils, you're welcome to. Whatever's easier for you. I also notice that there is some shadows in here. So I'm going to put those shadows in. I'm just going to put it in shadow. I'm not going to put all the different things in there. I'm just going to fill it in. And there we have our drawing of a glue stick. Okay, basic drawing of a glue stick. All right.